Hi, it's Selena Hughes here, and today I'm having a sit-down chat with Alexa Varano, owner and designer of Third Wolf Designs. We'll be discussing inspiration, nature, design, and purpose. Hi, Alexa. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Selena?
I'm doing good. Thanks for sitting down with me today. I want to start off with getting to know you. So can you tell us about Alexa Varano away from Third Wolf Design?
I'm from New Jersey originally, so I lived there, born and raised for 18 years. And then from there, I moved out to Colorado for school. So I actually studied political science at the University of Colorado in Boulder. Once I graduated, I moved out to Denver. That's where I live currently, hopefully not for too much longer. I traveled a lot when I was younger. I was put on a plane when I was 12 years old and flew out to Australia and New Zealand with a delegation of kids. So that kind of started the process of me kind of coming into my own, I guess, really young. And from there, I traveled to 12 different really interesting countries around the world that really had an impact on molding who I am, the way that I am. The traveling that I did when I was younger, basically it was from age 12 to 20 was the bulk of it. It definitely impacted a lot of my life today and a lot of what I do. It had a really profound impact on just opening and expanding my mind. The organization that I traveled with for a long time it's called People to People International, and their mission statement is peace through understanding, and that right there is kind of the premise of a lot of the way that I live my life and the way that I approach the world. Third, the easiest way of explaining it is you have a spectrum line, and there's two sides to that spectrum. They're extremes. So in our culture today, you could see it everywhere, whether it's rich, poor, black, white, Democrat, Republican, there's these splits. And it's taking the third of that split. So it's basically saying that we all hold all of that within ourselves. So that's the third. And then the wolf carries a similar message, the sovereignty. So there's the lone wolf you could see in my logo howling at the moon, and that's that power that I am a sovereign being, and yet the wolf is also a very significant pack animal. So rely on others, we're all connected to each other. It's in the drawings, it's in the art. So when I say sacred geometry, I mean that quite literally. There's a lot of geometrical shapes and symbols, so you'll see a lot of sharp edges in the work. And when I draw things out and kind of get in touch with the natural world, like you mentioned, there's a lot of nature influence. It's just because you could see that there's that same patterns that play out over and over again in the world. And I believe that they come from a lot of spiritual concepts, and that could look however you consider it, whether that's a god or the universe or energy. And so we all are kind of tapped into that, whether we are aware or not. It's a zone. It's definitely a zone that I tap into. I make an effort when I do any of my work, whether it's on canvas, painting, or with Third Wolf in designs. I'd make a conscious effort to get myself out of the way, essentially, my ego, the Alexa Varano self. So I go into a zone, I'll meditate sometimes before and kind of get my head and my ego out. That way it flows. So I really believe that each of us individually are an open channel, if you allow yourself to be open to it, to whatever moves through and the gifts that come through you. And we all have our unique gifts. And so when I do my work, it's a lot about, like I said, removing myself out of the way for a little while and letting the work move through. So that's the process. If you look through, a lot of the designs are a lot of animals, so that's something that I tap into with a lot of animal symbology. That actually comes a lot from, well, at least from my experience with it in Native American culture. With a design like this, it'll start with the process, the thought of what is an animal that I'm maybe connecting with at that moment. So the raven or the crow, which this could be either really, is essentially a messenger. So it comes through and it brings messages from, in the Native American theory, from other realms, essentially, and other spiritual places, whether it's, it doesn't really even matter. And it brings messages to deliver to you in waking life. And when I was creating this one, you could see it's crystallized. So there's actually the patterns of crystals inside of the crow's body. So there's a lot of deeper understanding in that in terms of the connection with crystals. And again, not so much in a heady way, not so much in that woo-woo type of way, but an actual literal way, like the patterns and the groundedness of the science and the crystals and the way that they form and how that kind of carries through within this particular animal and symbol.
So you're into nature. Do you have a spirit animal?
I mean, I'm connected with a couple. I kind of move in and out. I don't know if you could see, I have this deer on my arm, the stag with antlers, and that's a really potent one for me. The antlers represent connecting again to like, I don't like the word higher self so much, more like an expanded self, that esoteric place. But the deer is a very, very earth animal, very grounded. So it takes both ends of the spectrum, the spectrum, and kind of mends the split, the gap of here or there, if that makes sense to you. And then the wolf, of course, it's the name of my company. So much of it is about bringing this deeper meaning of connecting to earth, to grounding it. These concepts, like I had mentioned before, of these what seem to be esoteric and very heady, large concepts of spiritual life that I think a lot of people place it out there like it's far-reached and not accessible. And it's so much about accessing that here, today, in the now, and bringing it into reality and understanding that we are all connected, and yet you are your sovereign self, and there is so much power that you and I and every single human being on this planet has to create your world around you every day. So as much as I want this company to flourish and grow, and I have no limits on that, and I'm on board for that, it's a lot about the message that it's carrying with it more so. So I hope that stays. Social media, you could find me on Facebook at Third Wolf Designs, Instagram Third Wolf Designs, no spaces, and then my website is www.thirdwolfdesigns.com.
Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today, and we hope to see more of you.
Thank you so much, Lena. I appreciate it.
Thank you. For more information, please visit selenahughes.com.